Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing Gango in the 15-minute pool on ICC, or Gangjo, not sure exactly how to say that. So I opened with knight f3. I've been playing some d4 on this channel, so I figured let's mix it up. But now we're going back into d4 channels. I just think d4 is probably the best move on move 3 right there. So he's adopting like a triangle setup. I like playing queen c2 in this position, just to defend the pawn. And now going bishop g5. So we have this triangle setup where black has a bad light square bishop. He'll be trying to get that out soon. The primary way they get that out is they try to take on c4 and then play b5. Queen c7 seems a little weird. I'm just always suspicious of those moves when I have the option of releasing the tension on the c-file by taking, but I'll probably just play e3. I could also go like g3. No, but e3 seems way simpler. So I think he's just going to develop normal. He's going to play like bishop d6 and castle, and probably play b6 and bishop b7. Yeah, so that's what he's up to right now. Now might not be a bad time to take on d5. Just because he has to recapture with the pawn. The e-pawn, that is. Just deciding if I want to do that or if I want to do some other plan. Maybe I'll play bishop d3 first. Yeah, let's go bishop d3 first. He is a little underdeveloped. I can castle quicker than he can. And maybe I can play for early e4 based on this. So let's castle now. Bishop e7. Not to d6. That's surprising. It's a little surprising. So breaking in the center with e4 would be a very normal idea here. However, given the way this game is played out, I don't think I want to do that plan. What else, though? If I can't do that, like, what other good plans do I have? Again, I go back to the taking on d5 move. He'll still take with his e-pawn. That is clear. Just not sure where I'm going with that. Maybe I take and then take on d5 and then play e4. No, somehow it's not looking great. Okay, I'm just going to play e4 right away. It looks principled to me. I'd also like to make him think and slow down a little bit, as I am down 2 minutes on the clock now. Had to wait a while to get this game, so I think there's not many players playing. Usually does take a little bit to get a game in the 15-minute pool. So e4, so if he takes with the pawn, I take with my knight. He can take, and I'm thinking I might want to throw in bishop takes e7 there. We'll see. If he's going to capture on e4, it's probably most accurate for him to take with the knight first. So that if I take on bishop e7, then he could take knight takes d2 in between move. He does take with the pawn. Okay, I'll take with my knight. Maybe he'll go c5. Nope, he does this. Okay, so now I have this option of taking on e7, which, to be quite honest, looks pretty good. If I just play this move, he takes e7. He's probably okay there. Yeah, I'm going to do this. And he can take on f2, but it would be very gutsy for him to play that, because his king will be exposed, and I'm getting an open file for my rook down the f-file. Wow, he does it. Okay. All right, this is going to be fun. So now I have to figure out which way to recapture. Queen takes already sets up like a battery on the f-file, but rook takes is tempting too. So if queen takes, king takes e7. I mean, just something direct like knight g5 nearly looks really good. Queen h4 check looks good. Lots of stuff looks good. These are positions where my perfectionist traits come into the fore. I'm just going to take with the queen. If he takes with the king, well, he will take with the king. I might just play rook e1. He just said in the chat, oh, you are AIM. Sometimes you have opponents talk to you in these longer games. So f7 is clearly weak. I'd like to attack it, but knight g5 directly, I don't know about. He has knight f6 if I do that. I think I like just rook ae1. It's simple. Let's do it. And it makes him think like how best to defend. Now maybe d5 is an idea too. Yeah, knight f6, I was kind of anticipating he might play that move. So now I think knight e5. Or knight g5. Maybe knight g5 is better. Knight g5 looks more brutal for some reason. Yeah, let's go knight g5. There's no tricks with like queen takes h2. That would just lose a piece for him. So my plan is to play knight e4 primarily. But I also have some pressure on f7 and e6. He should probably put a rook on f8 is what he should do. Like rook a f8 right now. If he plays c5, and he played rook a f8, so that's probably a good idea. Man, I just want to blast the center open with d5. c5 also makes sense. I don't want him to run away now, though. Like king d8 and start slithering away. What about bishop f5? Bishop f5, could he really just play like king d8? That would be so lame if he could actually just do that. I mean, I think that's his plan. Like, he's just going to go king d8 next move. Yeah, probably is. That's why I'm tempted to make some brutal sacrifice right now, but nothing seems to be working. Yeah, this knight coming to f6 is a problem. It's a big problem. Well, d5 would be the way to go if I want to burn my bridges. I don't think that's sound, though. No, I just don't see a lot of good follow-ups to that. Ugh, tough position. Bishop f5. Bishop f5, you can just play king d8. It's crazy. And if bishop takes e6, trying to force him to take so I can fork his king and queen, he can just play h6. And I have nada. That position might be playable, though. I shouldn't say I have, like, nothing there. It's probably playable. It's probably better than anything I've looked at so far. So let's do it. Maybe he'll play something passive like bishop c8. But king d8 is the move I'd be focusing most on. King d8, bishop takes e6, h6, and I'm looking at having to play knight takes f7. Okay, he did play the passive move. He's just trying to reinforce that square. d5. d5 again is begging to be played. What about rook e5? Rook e5, he might do the king d8 move. d5. Let's give d5 a shot. I feel better about playing this now that he can't take, and then after I recapture, take with his bishop. So that's good. I mean, he's going to take with his knight, because he kind of has to. He could play queen c5, but I was looking at that. Like, I can take and then take on e6. And I'm going to get my material back, probably with an advantageous position, advantageous ending. So I bet he plays knight takes d5. And I'm thinking queen h4 is what I'll do then. Putting his king in the crossfire. So like knight takes d5, queen h4. If knight back to f6, then I can go knight e4. With more pressure there. That's one main line I'm looking at. So now his king is like permanently exposed. He's having a little think here. e5, does that make sense? Nah, e5 can't be a good move for him. If e5, at the very least, I could play rook takes e5 check, queen takes e5, rook e1 with an initiative, even if the position resolves into like a, two rooks versus queen ending. His king is open. These are tough situations in these fast games. I mean, oftentimes it's just easier to be the side defending when you have like this little time on the clock. Because you can see like every decision I'm like kind of agonizing, like, okay, how do I best carry out my initiative? Maybe it's just my personality, but I often feel like defending these positions is easier. We'll see if this is a good idea. It kind of looks attractive, like queen h4 and x-raying his king. Also, I wanted to stop him from playing queen c5. I don't want to trade queens. Trading queens would be the death knell for my position, most likely. So now if knight f6, I can play knight e4 is my intention. It's kind of slow, but like then I can pile up on that point and maybe withdraw my bishop. I'm also noticing knight f6, maybe I can play rook c1 and switch targets, because it'd be nice to get my queen over to b4 with check if his knight is no longer guarding that square. Maybe I'll do that instead. Yeah, that looks really promising. I think I'll do that if he allows me. Game's heating up. He's now having to take a little bit more time. Looks very scary from his point of view. Extremely scary. I wonder if he can do anything wacky like queen c5 check, king h1, and then knight e3 or something. I'm going to have a discovery like knight takes e6. Shouldn't be good for him. g5, queen takes g5. Nah, it's not going to work. Well, regardless of what happens, this is a fun game. Just check this guy's stats while we have a brief lull here. This guy's played a lot of Standard as well. Almost 4,000 15-minute games. Peak rating of 1919, achieved just a couple days ago. I keep playing people who have peak ratings close to when I play them. Knight f6, yeah. Okay, so now my idea was rook c1. Switch targets. Switch angles of attack. Here. Just checking something like rook c1, queen e5, let's say. Queen b4 check, queen d6, rook c7 check. Don't tell me I'd be running out of steam there. That's annoying. Well, rook c1 to me now feels like the right move, but I'm now having to convince myself that it's actually the right move. Rook c1, queen e5 is my only hang-up about that. Okay, I'm not going to think too much longer on this. I'm going to make a decision soon. Okay, I'm gonna trust my instincts. There's a little bit of calculation behind this, but I think I can make this work. So I'm thinking if queen e5, I can do a couple things. One, I can check right away, like I was saying. The other thing I could do is I could throw in a rook move, like rook fe1 might be a good move. Make him take my bishop, and then go queen b4. That might be the best thing of all. Rook fd1 is also possible. Rook fd1 seems slower, though. Yeah, that's not as good. So basically, like, I'll be saying that I don't really even need my bishop now. This is what the argument I'll be making to him. And that my rooks plus my queen coming over is good enough. I don't know. I'm still not totally sure about this. This could easily blow up in my face, but we'll see. I mean, he pretty much has to take my bishop. Unless he's going to play queen b8, but I'd be very surprised if he did that. So queen takes f5, I give a check. Let's say king d7. Problem is if I check on the d file, he can block with his knight. So king d7, I was going to play queen a4 check. Was my plan.
Check.
Let's make him think about it. Where to put the king. Plays king d8 right away. Okay. So I check on d6, but he can block. Has a few ways to block. Queen check. Ooh, I think I see a pretty cool idea, though. Is he going to block with the bishop? Probably is. Queen, rook takes c8 check doesn't work here, does it? Doubtful.
Check.
All right, we'll give the check. Now up to him, knight d7 or bishop d7. Plays bishop. Yeah, it's probably the better way. I can play rook ed1, which would be kind of like almost settling for a perpetual. Is it though? I don't know if it's settling. Nah, he can play knight d5 though. It's always that knight d5 move. Okay, let's go here. So that if queen f4, I can check on e7 and then I'll have rook takes e6 as a discovery. So there's that at least. This is getting complicated. Need more time. It's just not quite enough time. I mean, I see some pretty cool tactical ideas. But yeah, the time factor. So if he goes queen g6, can I take on e6 with my knight or my rook? Probably with my knight. So queen g6, knight takes e6, f takes e6, rook takes e6. And the point is that I'm threatening queen e7 mate, along with queen b8 with checkmate to come. I don't know that he can deal with both of those threats. I don't think he can. No, he can't. He can't deal with both those threats. So that means he might have to play queen g4. Queen g4, I can chase him with h3. Okay, looks like this might happen. This is a cool combo if it works. Yeah, I think it does. Take, take, rook takes. Threatening queen e7. And queen b8 at the same time. Yeah, that's got to work.
Check.
Like, I'm just attacking with my queen and two rooks. No minor pieces or anything. But it's pretty powerful. You know, there's some big threats involved there. I mean, he has to take it. King e8 is not an option here. King e8 gets mated into, actually. Rook c8, bishop takes c8, queen d8. Amongst other very good things for white. So, yeah, I'll just pre-move this capture, because there's no harm in pre-moving that capture. If he plays king e8, it'll cancel the move. But yeah, I think I'm on my way to winning this one. I don't want to call it too early, but don't see a defense for him. This will be a fun one to analyze. I have a feeling king d8 wasn't good. King d7 looks like it would have been better. He's going into the tank. He's thinking. I gotta admit, I mean, it was probably like 70% intuition, 30% calculation when I decided to go for that whole line involving rook c1 and sacrificing the bishop. It just felt like I had enough. And I also felt like I might be able to bail out with a perpetual or something at some point if I needed to. But I'm not going to sit here and claim I calculated everything out. Yeah, I think he definitely realizes what's happening. Yeah, there's nothing really to do, though, for him. I mean, king e8 is equivalent to resigning, and otherwise you just got to play f takes e. Hope he doesn't sit here and maybe just wait this out. Yeah. There's nothing to do about those dual threats. Queen e7, queen b8, or queen c7. I don't know why I was thinking queen b8 necessarily, but queen c7 works just as well. He's got like one spite check and that's it. Really interesting. It really got kicked off when I played e4 on move 10 right here. Knight takes f2 was bold. That was a very bold move. I mean, he has the right idea. When you're playing a higher rated opponent, you know, you usually want to take some risks to try to beat them or make them think. I don't know if that's like a good risk to take, though. But it did force me to think a lot in how I wanted to execute the attack. All right, 20 seconds remaining. Queen g3. Maybe he's hoping I pre-moved queen c7 or queen b8. But
Checkmate.
that is checkmate. That's funny. My rating actually went down from that game because that was provisional. It went down from 2343 to 2340. Maybe that's why there's deflation in the 15-minute pool. But okay, let's have a look. So this is a line that I like to employ against this triangle setup, because if white plays knight c3 here, you have to be ready for takes in this so-called note boom variation, which is very complicated. It's initiated after e4, b5, a4, bishop b4. Really complicated stuff. So I prefer to avoid that if I get into this position through this knight f3 move order on move 1. So queen c2, and then bishop g5. And the idea is that this knight can come to d2 instead of the customary c3 square. Because c3 they might still capture on c4. So that's why we're going to d2. And I commented that I thought queen c7 was a little strange. I'm not a big fan of that move, but... So bishop d3. Yeah, I think this is all normal. Let's just see if the engine likes e4 in this position. Or does it prefer I take on d5? It really likes take on d5. Okay, this guy's messing with my board. Or our board. I'm just going to close this and get a new one. Okay. So... yeah, the engine was really liking... c takes d5 right here. Why was it liking that so much? C takes, or was it after castling? I think it was after castling. Here, let's see. Yeah, right here, take, and if E takes, just rook fe1 and try to power through e4. Okay, but that's kind of similar to what I eventually did. So I play e4 directly. He takes. I take with the knight. He took here. I took here. Yeah, so he could just like retreat his knight. That would be normal. And we get a position like this. Probably I want to play c5. This is a good strategic move. Even though it creates a backward pawn, it blocks his bishop from getting in the game. Also creates like an outpost square on d6, potentially for my knight. So, yeah, but knight takes f2. Bold idea. But I had to burn some time. I didn't see any direct way to play the attack. So that's why I played rook e1. I see the engine likes it, so it approves of rook e1. It's just a move like this is an attacking piece that I know will have to enter the fray at some point. And I often feel like if you're the defender in this position, it's more uncomfortable if white doesn't do something direct here. Okay, now it prefers queen h4, but like if I play knight g5, like it's easier for him to defend because he knows he has to defend f7. So I thought he was going to play knight f6, but oh, I guess I have knight e4 in that case. Didn't realize that. But that might have changed things because this looks pretty sketchy. Queen e3, ugh, complicated. Attacking this, like taking, does not look good for him. Yeah, it's possible that rook e1 is not the best move, but I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time. I spent like roughly 30 seconds on that move. Because I knew I had compensation, and I knew it was very, very strong, so... Okay, I think here I should have gone with my first instinct, which was knight e5. Yeah. And this prepares knight g4. Although, actually, am I threatening knight g4? I think I'm more threatening queen h4 and then knight g4. Yeah, that would be like the main idea. But knight g5 might be a little limited. Rook af8 is a good defensive move. And here I thought for a while, I think. Yeah. 2 minutes and change, 2.5 minutes about. I just wasn't sure how to break through. Like, it felt like something like d5 should be played, but he can just take, I think, and he's okay. And whenever I play d5, I have to worry about him trading queens with queen c5. Likewise, this move. I thought, what did I think he could do here? Was it h6? h6, apparently this is good. What if g5 then? Queen takes h6, okay. Weird position. He can just run away. That was also the case in some lines. He could just run away with his king, take shelter on the queen side. He's already moved this rook over, so it fits nicely with his king to fall back to that side of the board. So, bishop f5. I was wondering if he could do this. I thought that might be the best thing. And then after take, just play h6. So notice he can't take, right? He runs into the family fork if he does that. But h6. And now both my minor pieces are under attack. I'd have to go for
Check.
this line. And I wasn't sure about this position. Material is dead equal. And his king is slightly questionable still. I think I was looking at like queen g3 or something like that. But yeah, this looks like his best bet. Queen f4, the engine also likes. Yeah, he should have done that. More than likely. He played bishop c8. What's it going to say here? Bishop h3. It's kind of sophisticated. I'm just reading the engine line. It says bishop h3 with the plan of going here and then here. Yeah, I'm not looking at something like that in this position. Like me as a human, I'm saying I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for something direct. And I was thinking, like, if he bails out... Okay, so it's starting to like d5 more. If he tries to bail out with queen c5, like, I can always just
Check.
trade and then take on e6. And the fact that his king will be under fire from my rooks, and he's still fairly uncoordinated, I think is boding very well for me. So, Yeah, that seems like d5 was a good decision, actually. I'm curious if... Yeah, queen h4 it likes. Here. Okay, here's where I played rook c1. We'll give it a little time to process that move, see if it likes it or not. Not going up by very much. Ooh, now it's starting to go up. Give it a little more time. This is Stockfish 2.3.1, by the way. So an older version of Stockfish. I know they have Stockfish 6 was just released. So I'm a little behind the times, but I honestly think these engines are like plenty strong, like for my basic analytical purposes, just like reviewing my games and such. I mean, if I was doing some real hardcore opening analysis or something, like, yeah, I might want to have the newer version of Houdini or Stockfish. But, you know, you guys shouldn't really stress too much about which engine you have. The freeware engines, like, I still have Houdini 1.5 that I use for my chess base. It's plenty strong. I mean, the people who are going to notice the difference between Houdini 1.5 and Houdini 3 Pro are players probably in, like, the top 100 in the world. Probably even more exclusive than that. I mean, I know people are pretty fascinated by computer chess, but I think a lot of it is blown out of proportion. So it really likes knight e4 though too. Like that was my first move, if you guys remember, that I was thinking about. Just simply trying to like withdraw this bishop and attack f6 basically. It's hard for him to parry that. I really hated his bishop c8 move for him. I don't think that was a good decision. Because now his king is like pretty much stuck in the center. He blocked his avenue for escape. Well, let's check rook c1. So rook c1, he did play queen e5. I went here. Take.
Check.
Queen b4 check. Wow, starts to like it. This makes me feel good when the computer actually approves of the way I handled a sacrifice. And especially that it was skeptical of the sacrifice at first. But then when you played a few more moves, it started liking it. That's a good feeling. So here it says, okay, he shouldn't take the piece. He should go queen b8. But yeah, this... I think I even mentioned queen b8. I didn't think he was going to play that move. Take, check. Okay, what happens if king d7? I couldn't figure out what to do against that move. I think I was looking at check and then trying to go win the a-pawn. But yeah, now he can play king d8. My knight's always hanging. What if I take here, though? Threatening check. Knight d7. Okay, freeing up the e7 square for the king. What a weird position. Knight f3 is my best move. Just the calm knight f3. Just retreat the attack knight. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that white has good compensation in all these lines. It's just the difference in the piece activity and the king safety is just huge. Okay, now it likes knight e4, and it says that I'm winning if I play that. Okay, that makes sense, because if knight d5, which is one of his defensive moves, I can play queen d6 check. And then king e8 and rook takes c8. It's nice. So, he played king d8.
Check.
I brought this in. You know, I thought knight d7 was bad because of this move. With like a similar idea to the game. In that I'm threatening, if queen here, I'm threatening this mate. But I guess he can take it and maybe survive, according to the computer. I wasn't sure. Or, oh, okay, sack the queen, that is. This position. Well, that's a weird position. Materially, he is ahead. He has a rook and two minors, but his king is questionable. And that actually gives white an advantage somehow. Rook e8, queen c4, probably because of this bishop. Yeah. Bishop b7, I have queen check, and I can win the bishop. Boy, this is really a game that, to properly analyze, I'd probably have to spend quite a bit of time. And the way I'd really want to analyze this game is to, like, draw the tactical conclusions on my own. Like, I'm taking the shortcut by adding the engine. You guys notice, like, normally I don't try to do this, but in these highly tactical games, and, you know, I don't have all day to sometimes do the analysis, I'll have to resort to this. But if this were a tournament game, I'd try to draw some conclusions on my own first and before using the engine. Rook e5. Okay, I'm glad I found that move. It seemed like knight d7 was his best bet, but yeah, bishop d7, rook e5. At first, I mean, I thought the same thing as him. I thought knight d7 was a bad move because of the rook takes e6 move. But yeah, it turns out that this might be the losing move. And there's some nice tactics going on. Like if queen f4, I have this
Check.
idea, and then he has to step to the e file,
Check.
and I take, and I'm going to win his queen. It's undefended. So that's decisive. And meanwhile, like, where else does he put his queen? If queen g4, I was going to play h3. Yeah, that's a good move. And if here, I can take e6 again. Or yeah, rook takes e6 even. That's funny, because if this, I have knight takes g7, fork. It's a cool line. It's just amazing, like, when you get a good attack going and you feel like you're coordinating well and you're firing on all cylinders. It's just amazing how everything comes together. Chess is like kind of beautiful like that sometimes. You just get in a zone, an attacking zone, and the tactics usually favor the attacking side. So yeah, queen g6,
Check.
and this is forced checkmate. He doesn't have any defense though. I guess, yeah, the defense is give up the queen for the rook and hope for the best. But plus 2.5 easily, 2 for white. No, I'm not even down material this time. Yeah, really interesting
Check.
game. And then you can't escape at the end. Well, I'm very happy with the way I executed the attack. Like a lot of these moves that I played, starting, I'd say right around here, I was hesitant on, but the computer was backing up a lot of them. I do wish I played knight e5, though, instead of knight g5. I think knight g5 was a little short-sighted. Yeah, bishop c8 was a problem. King d8, and go for that line where I have to give up my 2 minor pieces for the rook and the 2 pawns. Looks good from this point forward. Queen b8 he could have played maybe. Okay. Yeah, there's some nuances. Like I said, this would take a while to analyze. If you guys have any interesting lines you'd like to add to this analysis, definitely let me know and post it in the comments. So thank you for watching, guys. Hope you have a good day, and I'll be back with another standard game tomorrow. Talk to you guys later.